10. And I appeal to you, brothers and sisters, in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, that all of you agree with one another in what you say, and that there be no divisions, but that you might be perfectly united in mind and thought. Amen. Fasting can humble you. There's no shout out, there's no comments in the middle of conversation, but we just want to encourage us again as we take time to pray. I think last week we shared, what it means for us to pray and fast. And if you wish to have that, those notes, you can find them from Akinakari, or you can ask me. I'll share them with you. And we just shared, I think, 6, 7 things that yeah, 6, 7 things that we aim to achieve when we are praying and fasting. And what I'll do is just share a testimony. I shared this on Friday for those of us who are here, to encourage us to expand our faith, to encourage us to do what? To expand, to enlarge our tent, as Scripture talks about it. There's things that you expect God to do. It all depends on your business, and as you work, you just need to work hard. It will happen. There are things that you can, by your own strength, they will happen. But the reality that comes with that also is that we become presumptuous that, I'm only limited to my strength and my ability. Or we trust so much in our strength and ability that we begin to feel like, anything that is above or beyond that is not God's idea for me. That is, it's too much. And I just want to read us from a scripture, 1 Kings chapter 13, shows Elijah and the prophets of Baal and the aftermath of that. Because we spent that time here in prayers, we spent time to, one of the things that happens is you begin to develop some muscles. You begin to get more confident in the prayer than you fasted 40 days. God, we're in the same subgroup. I felt like that. We are even as good as we be as believers, tend to get to such a place where we feel like I've worked hard for God to recognize my efforts, and so it's not about His mercy and grace. And I think I reached that place when He, dealt with the prophets of Baal, and 400 of them were sleeping. Suddenly, it's in a place where the whole nation turns to God, and He's the man of the season, the man of God, the man who has brought down the altars of Baal, the man who has restored the worship of the true God. Just think about how powerful that posture was for a moment. That an entire nation comes to its knees, comes to mission, and is sure that the God of Elijah is the true God. It's not just a revival happening in an event somewhere, it's just a good service happening somewhere, but it's the entire nation called together to stand and contest and hold a contest between the prophets of Baal and the prophet of God. And by this time, Elijah knew, I'm the one man standing. So he's literally in a class of his own. But immediately after that, when we look at chapter 19, we see one thread. One moment he's celebrating, one moment Jezebel shows up and says, what? If this that has been done to the prophets of Baal will not be done to Elijah by the end of this day. And Elijah just panics. You see, because sometimes our last victory is not a guarantee of our next victory. That's a sad situation to be in. Yesterday, I was hearing cheers from the different clubs. In fact, I was wondering what was going on. And there's a number of clubs near where I stay. And if you're near one of those, you can hear. And what happened yesterday? Manchester. Now the chest has appeared. Manchester has dealt with Man City, be it ever so severely. Huh? That's not guarantee that they'll be on top of the table until when you're given that until when you're given that cup, your last victory. However great the enemy, does not guarantee the next one. You might meet with Bournemouth, a team that even we don't even doesn't even have supporters. It shows up in the league with just family members. And they chapa you 3-0. And they're like, but surely. And now that's where Elijah was. He has defeated a whole cult. And it's not even the king. It's the king's wife who says, wait and see. And Elijah just hits panic and takes off. Because the last victory is not in our emotions, in our psyche, equal to the next victory. And for some of us, that is something that I want us to be aware of. Because we might have such a great celebration here. God is moving, you're praying and fasting, and then February comes in, and you hit a dip. And you're like, but surely God, we spent 40 days, we spent 21 days, we spent 10 days. You know, I did a 7-day dry fast. You know, I've never done this before. You know, until you start smelling water. You know, you're like, smells. Because of just how hungry you are. You know? But that's the reality that Elijah faces. Because he felt, I've got this. Then when Jezebel speaks to him, or speaks of him, he suddenly realizes, I've lost this. And he takes off. They say Elijah was a melancholy. You know, he takes things to heart. And he's, you know, prone to depressive episodes. And so he goes and says, God, just kill me. Anyway, I'm not worthy to live. I'm the only one left. Feels isolated. Feels left alone. And in the course of that time, he sees things from man's perspective. You know, recognizing our ability and our own power of our situation, not necessarily God's ability. And that's what confidence in the flesh is all about. I can do this. I've got this. And then you acknowledge your ability to do or be or have. And it's a good thing. Because some things you're told, hey, do this. And you're like, this one, I've got this. All right? And you go ahead and actually deliver. But then surrender in man's eyes comes from the recognition of the magnitude of the task compared to my strength and ability. And Elijah for a moment now begins to look at himself not as God's prophet, but as their prophet. And you know, if you're just the prophet and this is the queen, there's a power distance. And he panics. And so what he thought he got, he lost in a moment. The Bible says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not in your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him and he will direct your paths. Proverbs chapter 3, 5 to 6. All right? As we were praying on Tuesday, this is where I picked this from. We were looking at the aspect of surrender. And for many of us, surrender is not a good word. Surrender is an admission of weakness, an admission of defeat. My abilities cannot match up to the task. I can't do this. But what is surrender in God's eyes? Surrender in God's eyes is an act of faith. And I remember in the readings for our prayer on Tuesday was, surrender grows when trust replaces control. Surrender grows when trust replaces control. What is control? When I'm able to. All right? You can imagine if you're driving and then you suddenly lose control of the capacity to steer for whatever reason. There's a time we were driving out in Burundi with the whole family. And there's a part of Burundi called Ngozi. Apparently there's something about I don't know whether it is the atmospheric pressure or what it is. But we We were just driving. We were actually alone on a very nice road. And then for a moment, the steering just went loose. There was no traction. Like you can see the tarmac. This is a tarmac road. It's not a dirt road. It's a tarmac road. We are not driving too fast. And I just lost control. And the car is just going towards the ditch. And I turned the steering and nothing. As in, it's like we are floating. And I'm like, Jesus. And Rosie realizes the car is moving towards the side of the road. And I'm like, Jesus, Jesus. And she joins me in praying, Jesus, Jesus. And the kids are behind us there. And they're like, ah. And we literally go off the road because there is no, as in, I felt that feeling twice. There's one time over water on Wayaki Way, and the tires had seen better days. And so I lost traction. But this one now, we are literally in a forest area. The five of us, no car in sight, and we are going towards a ditch. And the roads are done a bit better than some of our roads. So there's a bit of stones that they have put with concrete. You know the way they do the taro with concrete and stones before you get to the ditch. And so it's at that point when we were going off that we developed traction again and came back on the road. And I slowed down and stopped. My heart is beating. I'm thinking we would be stuck somewhere halfway in the middle of Burundi. We don't understand the language. We are in a foreign land because we were living in Rwanda. We had just gone to visit Burundi. And we would have a crash. Because for a moment there, we lost control. Now that is when I'm like, Jesus, Jesus. You know, you believe in Jesus, but when you lose control, it's either you believe in Jesus more or you begin to fight. And Elijah, I think, was trying to fight. And, you know, he's like, hey, how do I now maneuver this? So he takes off. He does what he does best. Surrender in God's eyes comes from taking our eyes away from our greatness and our ability to have a glimpse of his greatness and his infinite ability. At that moment, you have two choices. You can begin to wrestle with the steering. You know it is not working. It is it's as good as the wheels are on their own and this wheel you're holding here is on its own. And I can focus on that or look at God. You are able to steer this car. You are able to restore us to firm ground. It's affirmed by taking our eyes away from the magnitude of our mountain to see the magnitude of his greatness. This is what we call perspective. So we need to take away our eyes from, this is the problem. I have no school fees. My family is breaking apart. My dad and mom have been fighting the whole of last year. We began the year with battles. My health is failing. And you can look at that and say, this is it. Or you can look and say, God, here I stand before you. Take care of me. That's the scripture. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. And if I don't lift my eyes to God, then my eyes will land on what is happening around me. Right? Somebody said, fear is those things that we see when we take our eyes from God. Fear is those scary little things we see when we take our eyes from God. Because if you look to God, this thing becomes almost nothing, negligible. We are transformed not by trying harder, Dallas Willard says. We are transformed not by trying harder, but by trusting deeper. And that is what I believe God is calling us to do. Not to try harder, but to trust deeper. And what is the response of trusting deeper? It's praying. Right? The fact that you don't pray proves that you don't trust God. But if you trust God, then you will pray. And the more you trust God, the more you pray. But there's a balance. Somebody said, pray as if it all depends on God. And work as if it all depends on you. Pray as if it all depends on God, and work as if it all depends on you. So don't let your hand. I did remove my hands on the steering, and I'm like, Father God, holder of steering, take the wheel. All right. So even as I'm praying and crying Jesus, I'm trying to slow down. I'm trying to steer. I'm trying to figure out how do I get myself out of this. In fact, my effort to control the car was increased at that point. But also my trust in God and my prayer to God was raised because I wasn't screaming Jesus all the way from Bujumbura until when I got to this place. Yet I needed to pray that God gives us journey mercies. But I was just like, Father, God give us journey mercies. But when the car started steering off, I'm like, Father God, Jesus. All right? Because now I am praying like it all depends on God. Because for him, this thing is not touching the ground. And I want us to conclude with this. What is the mountain that you're facing? What is that mountain that you're facing? You can list them down. Some of us may have one, some of us may have 50. You know, some of those mountains may be represented by the goals you've set for this year. And like this year, siendi sherehe. And then your friends come fully loaded with a car and everything. You know, they're like, this one unakuja just as you are. You know, come as you are. You are not paying a thing. Don't ask questions. You just, all we want is your presence. Have you ever had those moments? And you just told God, God, I am done with this life. Offer you cannot refuse. Hit home. What is that mountain? Alright? Or you've said, God, this year, assignments and me. The moment the course description shows up like this, I am checking the boxes. And then you see the course description and you're like, Father God, what an amazing term. Let me just, as it's called, doom scroll for a bit, then I'll come back and work on this. Then the next week comes, and the next week, and you find yourself in the same place where people are handing over assignments and you're asking, Yonigani, what is that mountain? What is that relationship that you have been saying, God, this year I am cutting off? And then the guy comes from Christmas, and they look much better than they ever looked before. And they're like, hi. Lord, can we try this next year? Right? What is that mountain? What is your response? Is it my ability or is it God's supremacy? What is your response? Are you saying my strength can? Or are you saying God can? What is your perspective? What do you look at? The situation? Or do you look at the God who can take you out of any situation? And this is a call for us to surrender. Number one, our lives. Because if we don't surrender our lives, like Elijah will tell God, take my life. Because you can't handle it. Some of us have personal habits. Paul calls it a thorn in the flesh. But Paul says to keep me from being conceited. But he says, I prayed time and time again for God to take this from me. And so there's one side where we look at laying our lives as a living sacrifice before God and saying, God, deal with these things. Deal with my personal struggles. Deal with my habits. Deal with the things that I've constantly repeated, even when I know they are not right. Elijah had one struggle. He always thought he's the only one. Have you ever walked into a place and you feel like you're the only holy person? Even now when we are praying and fasting, I know some of us are feeling, when I see out of 6 days, you just feel like a heathen. Like, surely God, I've been doing breakfast and a half, breakfast and 3/4, and then full breakfast, and then I've done lunch, and I've done supper. And they're like, so God, how will you hear me when there are people who have done 6 days with water? It's not about what you've done. It's about the God who sees and hears. And I'm not discouraging those who have done, but I'm also not telling you just sit there and just chill because God, use the other prayer and fasting some. Just add one. This is not a group assignment. You guys have group assignment. You just come and put your name there at the end. You don't even know the topic. Alright? But I'm saying it's very easy to become holier than thou. It's easy to feel like I'm the only one. Especially when you're doing well. And Elijah goes almost to the grave with that thought that I'm the only one. Until when God tells him, I have spared 7,000 who have not bowed. 7,000. And you're thinking, I'm the only one. What are some of those things? What are some of those habits that have held you? And you feel like, I'm the only one who is going through this struggle. And then number 2, look at our dreams. Does your vision for your life leave room for God? Remember this pastor talking about having a God-sized vision. That when you tell somebody what you are thinking about your life and they look at you, they're like, this is a joke. Why? Because the gap between your ability and your vision is so big. And I'll conclude with this because this is a testimony I shared. On that Wednesday evening, we just sat down and we are finished with prayer. We are day 3 that time, everything you can see, you can see visions of food. Alright? You see a chicken walking, but you see it rotisserie, upside down. And I sit down and we are talking with Rosie and for those of us who are visitors, Rosie is my wife. And we start listening to where she got this clip of a pastor who was preaching, and she starts listening to it, and I'm like, he's talking about prayer and fasting, and I was telling the guys on Friday, prayer and fasting in America and prayer and fasting in Africa is very different. Alright? So this guy said about how they wanted to go and start a Bible school in Europe, and they started praying about it, and they took literally a day, and they said, let's confirm, and they took a day praying. And I'm sitting there and I'm telling Rosie, hey, then God answered the guy after a day of prayer and fasting. To go day 3, we have done 3 times better. See, God can also answer us. And in the course of the day, we had met with our children's teacher and asked. She had told me, hey, this is the school fees for this guy for his exams. And I'm looking at the amount. And I'm like, hey. So I just tell her, yes, we will sort it out. And that time I have 0 idea. And so in the evening when we are sitting there, we are like, God, if you can respond to these guys in a day of prayer and fasting, how about us 3 days of dry prayer and fasting? That should, wow you a bit. You did 40, but imagine you've done like a tithe of that 40. And so, because I was like, one day. He has been answered for 1 day of prayer. So we finish and we literally just make a very simple prayer. We're like, God, shock us also. God, like, just throw something there so that we can also feel like you are working. And so I leave and I go downstairs. And in my mind, I'm thinking about the fees. I'm thinking about some of the expenses here at YHub. And I remember that day we had met with a couple here and we had discussed about, we were doing some counseling for them. And as we were walking them out, the guy is like, this is such an amazing place. So, do you own this place or you're renting? You're like, yeah, we are renting, but we are trusting God to own it. Then he asked me, do you have architectural plans? Architectural plans. When you have architectural plans, it means you own a place. Okay? And fortunately, Andre had drawn up some architectural plans for us. So I'm like, yeah, one of our guys has drawn up some architectural plans. We're thinking of going out like this, And we're trusting God. So yeah, that's good. And February, yeah, February is still there staring at us. But the guy jumps from rent to architectural. Do you know how many steps those are? There is bid, talk to the owner, they show interest in selling, then you begin to look for the money, then you look for the money if it shows up, or you go to the bank and they look at your bank statement and they look at the amount you're asking, and the bank manager says, my son, it's good to have visions, but also it's good to measure them. And so I'm listening to this guy, and I'm thinking there's still more steps. Then there is a purchase plan. How long will it take for us to pay for this place? And then there is the money to pull down and build up. How many years will that take? How much money? And then there is also looking at the reality of we are all campus students. There are guys who are doing assignments. You don't get paid to do assignments, right? Right? So we're not collecting tithes of assignments here. So I'm like, everything doesn't line up. But this guy asks, do you have architectural plans? And that hit me. That's faith. That I've crossed 10 regions. I am seeing the promised land. But I'm still sitting in Egypt a slave. And so when we are saying I'm no longer a slave to fear, we're not talking about because we left. It's because I'm making a confession of what I believe by faith. As Hebrews 11:1 says, the substance of things hoped for, evidence of things not seen. And so I tell God, shock us this day. And so I go downstairs, and that day during the day, my phone kit is here. My phone has seen drama. It has fallen from grace, fallen from my hands. It had, by the end of last week, it had a crack on this side that, was shining like a torch. And so it started, I think, at some point, Safaricom guys, when they were committee, started doing those things of showing you like you have money and then you don't. You have money and then you don't. So it had shown some serious amounts, like 160K, and then it has been cancelled. 249K, it has been cancelled. 370,000, and the Safaricom jokes in January like this are not acceptable. And so in the evening, I go downstairs and I look at the phone and I see, ding. Sitawambia amount, watu wanaweza nifuata pasi, unajua. Hata mimi niko January na wewe. We have been praying for school fees, and it was a huge amount. And the amount comes in, and a second amount, and a third amount. And I'm looking at that school fees like, sasa wewe. When it petty cash. And I go up to Rosie and I tell her, look. And she looks at my phone and she's looking at the M-Pesa balance. And then this guy now texts me, the guy who had sent the money. And I'm looking at the text. He's like, have you seen something on your phone? That's when I realized this is not committee. So it's a friend of ours. He chats us up and he's like, you know what? We've just been praying for you and the work that you do, and we just wanted to say, may God continue to bless you as you continue with this work. And I go up, I show Rosie the message. They had put her in a WhatsApp group, and we are looking at this. And we remember what we had just prayed. Saying, God, somebody gets a confirmation to go and start a school. After one day of prayer and fasting, Father, we're in day 3. On the 3rd day, and 3 is, it's theological terms. Divine completions, hallelujah. And imagine, sometimes you are telling God, hear our prayers, hear our prayers. And for many times, we don't even hear us. And then I realized, because we're done day 2, and we're talked about surrender being about looking at the greatness, the infinite greatness of God, rather than our limited greatness. Because I was beginning to look at the school fees, and look at my salary, and look at the income that I get from different speaking engagements, and maybe perhaps 1 or 2 relas who will say, David, I just know how you're suffering in this work. But he was looking at his cattle on 1,000 hills and saying, what is this? Right? And I want to encourage us that we whatever it is, and the greatness of God rather than our limited vision. I say, God, shock me according to your riches in glory. Shock me according to your measure of greatness. So that even what the doctor says, this is going to be a lifetime disease. I used to be asthmatic. Used to be, notice that. And I remember one time I had gone for a camp and my chest knocked. You know when you asthma doesn't like excitement, don't be too happy, especially not outside in the night. And so we're in this camp, and you can just see my demeanor take away like 30 years. How excited that teenager is. And I'm laughing and playing, and we're in a camp that is inside. There's a place called Diguna near Nazarene University. But those days there was no Nazarene. It was just a bush from there, and you are literally in KWS. Actually, they border the national park. So there is no way to get back to the main road to go to hospital. And then what I'm told, we don't have asthma. Alright? So I was the only guy with a unique disease that it was an import, I don't know from where, because I was also a mta guy. And so I get into this camp, we are playing, I think it was like day 2. And at night my chest just locks. I can't breathe. And I can't sleep because when I sleep it gets worse. So I'm seated, we're in bunkers. So I'm seated on the upper bunker, I'm seated like this. 9 p.m., 10 p.m., 11 p.m., 12 a.m., 1. People are sleeping. Have you ever noticed how sleep is important? Wait the day you can't sleep. And I'm hearing people snoring. And I'm like, you don't know how important snoring is in the grand scheme of things. Another guy is talking to himself over there. Have you ever felt jealous of people sleeping? And I'm thinking, how fortunate you guys are, because they saw me there in bed, they told me morning, and they went to sleep. Literally, up to about 4 a.m. is when my chest cleared enough for me to lay down. And I remember in those hours, turning to God and saying, God, if at 16 I start carrying medicine, by the time I get to 40, I'll be operating with a bucket of medicines. This one is for waking up. This one is for thinking. This one is, like Jackson. This one is for talking. This one is for. And I just told God, I can't serve you and have this. And I went back home with this resolve, because I had a whole night of talking to God. Like, God, when you think about it, take over. Who will serve you? Let me tell you, I talked the whole night to God in my silence, in my tears, and I told God, there is one thing that we need to agree. I cannot serve you with this disease. And from there on, my journey of healing began. And even now, I still, once in a while, pop in a Ventolin in my bag, but rarely use it. Why? Because I trusted God and said, God, you, with your greatness, this cannot exist. But it took years of a whole night of realizing that it's possible for me to die while my friends are sleeping here and snoring. And by the way, asthma takes you out, right? Because you're literally in a place with oxygen. It's the worst experience. The oxygen is sufficient for everyone else, but it's not getting to you. Asthma. People are breathing. You're in the same room with the same air, but it's not getting to your body, and your body is literally suffocating as you watch. I've lost some friends to asthma. It's just one evening of fun and laughter and no Ventolin near you. You're done. You watch these movies, of a guy has been beaten. And you think it's just the movie. That's asthma. You don't get to it, you're gone. Some of them actually, it's so bad they have to use injectables. So you poof, and you go on with life. If you don't get that injection, you have left. That's what I was dealing with. What mountain are you dealing with? Do you have a God-sized vision? Does can you go rewrite? All right? Go delete, rewrite. You are like, God, just give me a who loves the Lord. Go delete. I want a woman who looks like this Jesus. I want a woman who prays like this Jesus. No, 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 God, I want a woman who will. Don't just say, oh God, just bring anything in a skirt. God, I want a job that will pay me enough to live. No, 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 no. God, pay me a job. Give me a job that will pay me enough to serve you. You know, I'm sorry because I've also been a victim of that. When I started working, I just said, God, I just need 10K. 3K rent. The economy was better those days. 3K rent. 3K I'm saucy. Right? 2K transport. And K ya maji na stima. Alafu ingine ni ya na savings. 10K. Little did I know that my first salary was 7K. It wasn't even enough. We used to pay rent, and then you decide food is necessary. And then we used to pay steamer and water bills. So you choose Kenya Power will come and cut. That will be water. They can take 2 years. So we just used to pay power. Then the rest of the month now it's walking by faith. Because what I thought was a goal was such a and some of us, I was talking to someone this weekend. He was asking me, so how much do I ask for a salary? I just told him, ask. If the only thing they can do is refuse and say, no, that is too much, okay? If they ask you, so how much do you want to be paid? Just I think I'm starting, just looking at a considerable amount of $500,000. If you see their eyes popping, it's Kenya shillings, Kenya shillings. Have a faith that leaves room for God. And so this has been our testimony. And I pray that by the time we are finished with these 3 weeks, these 21 days, we will have testimonies of what God has done in you and for the glory of his name. Amen? Let's bow and pray. Father, we thank you and bless you. You've given us an amazing opportunity, Lord, to interact with you, an opportunity, Lord, to call on your name together as a community, an opportunity, Lord, to bring the things that pertain to our lives, to our faith, to our relationships, to our future before you in prayer. And Lord, I pray that, Lord, you would just astound us with your response, because we are not looking at our ability to pray. We are looking at your ability to answer. We are not looking at our strength to persevere day after day of not eating, but we are looking at your joy of seeing the children coming to you and saying, God, for your glory and for your honor, I lay aside my meals, I lay aside my regular schedule, I lay aside my regular behavior, so that I can be able to diligently spend time in you. And Lord, as we do this, Lord, would you astound us with your compassion? Would you astound us with your love? Would you astound us with your mercy and grace? Lord, I pray that this will not be a 21 strong like any other, but this will be a season where we will hear your voice as you speak to us. And some of us are saying, God, I've heard people say, God spoke to me, but I've never heard his voice. May this be a season where we hear your voice audibly clearly. May this be a season where you will say, as Lord, we read, this is the way, walk in it. We will constantly hear a voice behind us saying, this is the way, walk in it. Lord, we will constantly hear your voice saying, this is the path to follow. When we call on you, Lord, you will answer. We might be able to say here and there, but Lord, we come standing on this word, standing, on God, on this truth, that, Lord, we are not here because we are better than others. We are not here because we have gained certain mileage. We are here because a gracious God has privileged be able to call on Him out of